I never thought my assignment on Kirill Station would lead me here, standing in the damp silence of a detention wing, facing a prisoner no one else dared to approach. The air was thick with recycled oxygen, tinged with ozone from the humming force fields that separated the cells. I had been told to inspect her condition, nothing more, but the moment I saw her, all orders felt suddenly meaningless. She wasn't human. Her skin shimmered faintly, as though light itself bent away from her, giving her a halo that was less divine and more alien. The guards kept their distance, their eyes shifting nervously whenever she so much as breathed. I caught fragments of their whispers before they scurried out of earshot. Asterisk, she'll rot your mind. Don't meet her eyes. Don't even breathe near her. Asterisk. And yet, when her gaze met mine, it wasn't madness or venom I saw. It was loneliness. A vast, aching loneliness that settled in my chest like a stone. You're the inspector. Her voice came low, carried on a breath that quivered with fatigue. The words weren't threatening. They were fragile. I stepped closer to the barrier, ignoring the muttered protests of the nearest guard. Her eyes, silver, liquid-like, locked onto mine, and for a moment I forgot every warning drilled into me. They say you're dangerous, I said carefully. Her lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. They say my touch kills sanity itself. She leaned closer to the field, her face illuminated by the crackling blue light. Then, softer, almost breaking, she whispered, "You're the first human not afraid to look at me." Something inside me shifted. I didn't know if it was pity, defiance, or curiosity. But I knew one thing. I wanted to hear her story. She told me her name slowly, as though speaking it aloud might summon ghosts. Serenia. The syllables carried weight, echoing against the metal walls like a forgotten melody. Her people, the Eloi, had been dreamweavers, she explained, artists of the mind who shaped beauty out of memory and thought. But beauty was dangerous in a galaxy built on fear. Somewhere along the line, someone had turned it into a weapon. They call it a curse, she said, her silver eyes never leaving mine. If another species touches us, their mind unravels. They see fragments of nightmares, too much at once, until they break. Her voice tightened, as if the words themselves cut her throat. And so they hunted us. They banished us. The Eloi faded. She drew a slow breath. I am the last. Her confession settled between us like a blade. I studied her through the barrier, the soft glow of her skin, the tension in her hands. Fear was painted into every line of her body, but beneath it there was something else, something pleading. Your kind, she whispered, always steps closer when others step back. Why? I didn't have an answer. Maybe it was stubbornness. Maybe it was a human refusal to believe in inevitability. Or maybe it was because I couldn't stand the look in her eyes, that quiet resignation. The guards shifted uneasily behind me, muttering warnings, but their words blurred into background noise. I lifted my hand, letting it hover near the barrier. She inhaled sharply. For a moment, I thought she'd recoil. Instead, her hand rose too, trembling. Against every warning, I crossed the last inch. My fingers brushed hers. Warm. Real. Alive. No madness. No visions. Just her breath catching, soft and broken. You're not afraid. Word spread faster than I could have imagined. A human had touched the untouchable and lived. By the next rotation, whispers followed me down every corridor of Kirill Station. Some called me reckless, a fool playing with poison. Others eyed me with a sharp, calculating interest, as though I had just revealed some new weapon humanity might wield. No one cared about the truth, that all I had done was hold the hand of someone who had been left alone for too long. It was Serenia who told me the truth, late one night when the hum of the station's machinery was our only company. The curse wasn't real. Not entirely. The visions others suffered when touching her kind weren't natural. They were engineered. A bioweapon, designed by a rival empire during the Eloi's rise, meant to twist their gift of dream weaving into a terror. The Senate had buried the truth, letting the lie spread until her people were hunted into extinction. Her voice broke as she spoke. Do you understand? I was never dangerous, but the galaxy needed a monster, and we were easy to sacrifice. She looked at me then, her silver eyes shimmering with unshed tears. I should not have let you touch me. If they find out you survived, they will kill you too. I should have turned away. I should have left her there in that forgotten cell. But I couldn't. There was something in her grief that caught in my chest, something that demanded I stay. Humans weren't built to run from fire. We were made to walk through it. So when she whispered, "You should leave me," I shook my head. "No," I said quietly. "If you're hunted, then they'll have to hunt me too." We fled Kirill Station under the cover of alarms, slipping into service corridors where the glow of red warning lights painted the walls like veins. Serenya's hand found mine often as we ran, not out of trust at first, but out of fear that if she let go, the hunters would snatch her back into the dark. I held on without hesitation, each step pounding with the weight of a decision I couldn't take back. We stole a freighter barely held together by rust and patched wiring, pushing off into the starfield like fugitives with nowhere to land. Every system alert screamed at us, but somehow the ship kept flying. Serenya sat across from me in the dim cockpit, her skin faintly glowing as if carrying its own starlight. "You shouldn't be able to hold me like this," she whispered one night, her fingers brushing mine on the console. "Every other species, they break. They see what I carry, and it destroys them." I smiled despite the exhaustion weighing on my bones. Maybe humans are just too stubborn to break. For the first time, she laughed, a quiet sound, fragile, as if she didn't quite remember how. That laugh faded into silence, and then into something heavier. She leaned against me, her body trembling, and the mask of mystery she wore slipped away. No shimmering aura. No illusion of untouchability. Just a woman who had carried the weight of her people's extinction alone for too long. Her tears soaked into my shirt as she whispered, "I never thought anyone would touch me again." I wrapped my arm around her and held her close, feeling her heartbeat race against mine. Touching her didn't shatter me. If anything, it healed something inside me I hadn't known was broken. By the time we reached the core worlds, the illusion of safety had already shattered. Our stolen freighter limped into orbit on dying engines, its hull patched with whatever scrap I could weld in transit. I knew we'd be noticed, but I hadn't expected the Senate to react so swiftly. Their ships surrounded us like a steel noose, and within hours we were dragged into the Capitol's chambers, spotlights blazing, senators glaring down from tiered balconies. Serenya stood beside me, chains draped across her wrists though none dared touch her directly. The air was thick with accusation. "She is an abomination," one senator barked, his voice magnified by hidden speakers. "And this human, this reckless fool, has chosen to harbor her." The words echoed, but I barely heard them. I only saw her eyes, silver and steady despite the tremor in her hands. She leaned closer, whispering so only I could hear, "You'll lose everything if you stand with me." Maybe she was right. Maybe exile, ruin, even death waited for me. But in that moment, the choice was already made. I reached for her hand. Gasps tore through the chamber, guards shifting with weapons raised, senators rising in outrage. "Then I'll lose it," I said, my voice carrying further than I expected, "but I'll lose it standing by her." The Senate erupted into chaos. Some shouted for execution, others for immediate exile. The guards wavered, their fear of Serenya outweighing their orders. Through the uproar, she clung to me, her expression caught between disbelief and something softer, something fragile. For the first time since I met her, she wasn't afraid for herself, only for me. And that, more than anything, convinced me I had chosen the only path I could walk. They called it the Memory Crucible, a machine designed to strip away lies and reveal the truth. To the Senate, it was the perfect stage to prove Serenya's curse was real. We were bound inside the chamber, surrounded by coils of humming metal and a dome of shifting light. Senators and soldiers watched from behind glass, eager to see me collapse into madness. The machine activated with a deafening hum, and the world around me shattered. At first, I braced for nightmares, for the mind-breaking chaos they promised. But what surged through me wasn't insanity, it was memory. Not mine. His. I saw the Eloi homeworld, bathed in golden skies, alive with dreamweavers whose laughter carried like music. I felt the warmth of their culture, the gentleness of their art. Then, like a knife across canvas, war cut through it. I saw soldiers, not Eloi, but another empire's troops, unleashing the weapon they had designed, The visions injected into her people like poison. Whole cities tore themselves apart, victims of fear and madness. And above it all, the Senate stood silent, allowing the lie to fester because fear was easier to rule with than truth. The torrent should have broken me. Instead, it burned me alive with rage. When the machine finally powered down, I stood trembling, Serenia clinging to me, tears streaming down her face. The senators leaned forward, expecting to see a broken man. Instead, I met their eyes and forced my voice steady. You fear her because she carries your crimes. You buried the truth, but humanity doesn't bow to fear. Not now. Not ever. The chamber fell silent, the weight of their secret exposed. And in that silence, I felt the tide of the galaxy begin to turn. We became fugitives the moment the chamber doors burst open. Serenia and I slipped into the chaos, stealing our freedom in the same heartbeat that the Senate lost control of their secret. From that day forward, we weren't just survivors, we were symbols. The untouchable and the human who touched her. Whispers of our names traveled faster than ships, reaching mining colonies, refugee camps, and rebel cells scattered across forgotten worlds. Everywhere we went, people approached us with awe and fear. Serenia's presence inspired both, but my hand clasped firmly in hers seemed to strip away the terror. They saw that she didn't shatter me, that the curse was a lie, and something shifted in their eyes. Hope. Quiet, dangerous hope. One night, under the glow of a lawless world's twin moons, she leaned against me on the hull of our patched freighter. Her silver eyes softened, reflecting the starlight. I thought no one would ever hold me again, she whispered. I thought I would die untouched, a ghost of my people. I turned toward her, brushing away the strand of pale hair that fell across her face. Then let them call me cursed too, I said softly, as long as you're not alone. She closed her eyes, her head resting against my shoulder, and for the first time since I'd met her, the tremor in her body eased. No chains. No fear. Just the quiet weight of belonging. I realized then that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in its warships, its weapons, or even its defiance. It was in moments like this, our refusal to let go when the universe demanded we turn away. The galaxy had tried to bury her in fear. But with my hand in hers, Serenia was no longer untouchable. And neither was I.